Well, I was going to introduce this next song, but you pretty much said everything I was going to say. This is a song I wrote a few years back called I Sing to the Wind. Unfortunately, it's not been recorded yet, but it's kind of a mythological story about what happens when you become one with that power of good that Ernest Holmes talks about that is everywhere. And then how does that manifest in your relationship to the world, the earth? This is called I Sing to the Wind.
I sing to the wind, to the moon and the stars, how much a part of them we are. They speak to my soul from the truth that we are. I am one with the universal heart, and I dance in the sun with the birds. Talk to the spirits of those who have gone, and the wisdom I hear moves me on to a place that I know though I never have been. Still I go every night in my dreams, and I dance in the night with the stars, and I fly between Venus and Mars, and I drink in the ethers of space, then return to the everywhere place. I sing to the earth, to the sun and the sky, how much the heart of us they are. Oh, woo. Do you feel like a hippie now again? I hope so.
Thank you, Cahill and Deline. One more time.
Thank you.
As you can tell, this month is about the body. I love that we're celebrating the body, especially this week, this time of year. To every time there's a season, and June seems to be the season of celebration, whether it's weddings or graduations. And it's a perfect time to really start really incorporating our body. So if you guys can help me this time around, if you are willing, I saw a couple people back there standing and dancing. So just to help me and everyone get in our bodies, let's just take a breath. Breathe out and just say, I love my body. I'm blessed to be here in this body. I'm blessed to be here in this body. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. It's wonderful to be in San Diego. Most everyone knows that I am visiting Minnesota for a few years. I say visiting. My husband's a California boy, so we will probably be back in California. This is his first time back for a year, so I know that he misses it. So anyway, our talk this month, this whole year is about living everyday wonder. And so each month there's a topic, and last month was emotions, which I'm really glad that we started to speak about because they are in the body. That's why they're called feelings, because they're in the body. So this month is about the body. And this everyday wisdom moving through us in this magnificent creation called the body. And look at how we use that word, the body of our work, the body of our songs, the body of, we use that word all the time, but how often do we feel it? How often do we really sink down into our body from our head to our toes? So today we're going to do a little experiential part of the talk later on. It won't be much. You don't have to get up, don't have to dance, don't have to do anything else, but just anchor in. So I'm going to start with this quote from Psalm. The body is the house in which, for the present, you are living in, and you need to keep it in good repair by a right mental attitude toward its experiences and people. A right mental attitude when you're speaking with people, when you're walking, when you're being with yourself. A right mental attitude with your experiences. And it closes by saying, your body is entitled to your respect. How many of us really, truly respect the body we're in? This gift. We don't have to worry about breathing. We don't have to think, oh, I have to breathe. We don't have to think, oh, my heart has to beat. My legs have to move. We're blessed to be here because it breathes itself. The heart beats itself. The ears hear. The eyes see. We're blessed to be positioned in this place. So how do we respect it? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But I wanted to say that this part that I always love, people say we're human beings having a spiritual experience. And I say we're spiritual beings having a human incarnation. Somewhere along the line, we said yes to incarnating into this body, into whatever body we decided we chose to incarnate into. So if we think about it that way, we're having an incarnation experience. So I wanted to show, let me see if I could do this picture, because what it shows is this photographer took a picture of these people. The first picture was taking the picture. The second one was telling them they're beautiful. And look at the difference between the first pictures that they were taken and the second. By saying you're beautiful, just that one sentence, and the difference in those pictures. So how often do we tell ourselves, you're beautiful? When we look in the mirror, what do we say? Oh, I need a little makeup. Oh, I got to put this on. Oh, maybe a facelift. I don't know, I got some chin. But to begin to start looking in that mirror and saying, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. So I just wanted to start with that. Richard Rohr, who I am a big fan of, he's a Franciscan monk. And in his blog recently, which I really love, when I start asking for help putting together a talk, I always get a download from different places. So he just wrote in this blog which I absolutely love because he went back to medieval Christian philosophers. How about that? Medieval Christian philosophers. Back in 1173, these philosophers talked about humanity was given 3 different sets of eyes. 3 different sets. We were given 3 different sets of eyes, each building on the other one. The first eye was the eye of the flesh. It comes from thought. We see with them, we think with them, we judge with them, right? The second eye is the eye of reason. That's where our meditation comes in. That's where we do our reflection. That's the second eye. And then we have a third eye. And I know that the Eastern philosophers talk about the third eye a lot, but we have a third eye. And that third eye is the intuitive eye of understanding. We intuitively know. And I really believe that it's from our second eye and our second practices that moves us into our intuitive eye. There's no processing needed in that eye. We just absolutely know. We absolutely know. So the third eye is the thinking beyond dualistic thinking. It just is. It's kind of like when we say we're anchored and we show up. We're present from our third eye. So think about that when we think about our eyes. We have 3 levels of seeing. So we need all 3 sets of these eyes. We need all 3 sets to create this healthy culture that we practice in our daily practice through meditation. And it helps create a healthy spirituality. So without all these 3, we can perpetuate our problems. We need all 3. So we need to see from that third eye perspective. And most often, most people that see from that third eye perspective, and you can own this, guys, are poets, metaphysicians, and authentic mystics. So that's what we are. We're the mystics walking in the world, seeing from our third eye. We see the whole picture. So from the third eye perspective, let's look at how we see the rest of the body. And remember, this body keeps score. It's been said that the issues are in our tissues, right? We absolutely know that if something's going on, our body will respond. We can't deny it. But instead of saying what's wrong when something's happening, let's take a look at what are you saying to me, which means we have to be really quiet to be able to hear what the issue is that's in our tissue. So I just want you to imagine this, because this is so, you could do this every day. And I know I've done it with a few people with the meditation, the 100 trillion cell meditation. We have 100 trillion cells operating in our body right now. Not just me, not just you, the whole world is operating through 100 trillion cells. And we talk about our oneness. We talk about a world that works for everyone. It's already working. We are moving beyond this idea of other and different, because all of us have these 100 trillion cells. And they're glowing with this beautiful, bright light. So imagine as you're sitting there, or as you're across the, whatever the wires are, what you're sitting through and in is 100 trillion cells, and they're moving. So we're constantly moving. Whether it's thinking, whether it's breathing, even if we're sitting, our cells are busy doing the work. So what is the message for you that you're giving those cells? Just think for a minute. What am I giving those cells? Oh, I have to be at, graduation at 4 o'clock? Or what is the message? How do you sit yourself still enough to begin to feel and hear what your body's translating for you? Because sometimes we got the wrong message, and I'm going to go back, all the way back to Adam and Eve. Because in that time, we got the message that there was shame involved. Don't pick the apple. You're going to get sent out of the Garden of Eden. What message did we tell our bodies then? And what message are we carrying down through the ages? I've always believed that consciousness is hereditary. We talk about, DNA and all, what our fathers had, what our great-grandfathers had. They had a consciousness too. And I believe that it's consciousness that's hereditary, that gets passed down. But we could say no, that we can end it right here. With all the work that we do with Science of Mind, we know that we could change. We change our thinking, we change ourselves. It's not just changing our beliefs, we're changing ourselves the moment we change our thinking. So that's the part that we have to be awake and aware of. The vanity that we see in the world is expensive. Think about it. Sonia Renee Taylor, who wrote The Body is Not an Apology, it's a great book that really talks about how we are continually apologizing for the kind of body we're in. We're apologizing if we get sick. We're apologizing if for me, it's like, I apologize that I don't have 2 more inches in my height. I need a step stool with everything, and I'm always sorry about that. And other people are apologizing for all these different reasons, body reasons I'm talking about. So the question is, how has the body and vanity fueled your consumerism? I know a long time ago, and I don't remember what it's called, subconscious healing. Remember when you're in the movie theaters and all of a sudden they flash something on the screen, like a popcorn, and just thank you, subliminal advertising, which they found to be illegal. But you go in and go, oh, I want a Coke or I want a popcorn. Well, now it's everywhere. It used to be a girl standing by a car. Did that make you want to go buy the car? It's all this marketing and all these imagings that tell us we're not enough. It's always about, you're not enough unless you get this car. You're not enough unless you get this beauty treatment. You're not enough unless. And the more we're aware of what is happening. Do you know the average for women in 1 year is $3,800 a year that they spend on beauty products? I don't know what kind of beauty products, but just different ways to adorn our body. That's the average for women. Men are picking it up. Men, the average is $3,000. We're not too far ahead, girls, women. We're not too far ahead. Men are catching up. That body deodorant that makes you get the girl or the guy or, all that is advertising. That's what vanity costs. So all we have to do is just stop and think, it's not a bad thing if I want to do that. The Egyptians adorned themselves. They put the earrings on. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you're comfortable in your body and you're not doing it for approval. So what messages do you send your body? Are they loving or are they harmful? What are those messages? So if you just get one thing out of today, think about those 100 trillion cells. What are the messages that you're sending to those cells? Because that's what's keeping you alive, vibrant, and awake. So another quote I have is, healing depends on experiential knowledge. We have to practice it. We have to experiment with it. You could be fully in charge of your life if you can acknowledge the reality of your body in all its visceral dimensions. That means if sadness is going on, and we talked about this last week, if sadness is going on, where is it? Where is it located? And can you embrace it? If there's joy going on, like Mary talked about, the joy just moves through the whole body. The joy, it's never a location, it's just this absolute feeling that just takes over the body. So just to be able to be aware of where it is located in your body and let it speak to you rather than you tell it what's going on. So finding your voice and your body rhythms. They say through your sense of agency. That's the new word now. I don't know if you've heard it or not. But everybody talks about agency, especially in psychological terms. And what it means is feeling like you're in charge of your life. Science of Mind has known agency before the word was invented, I think. You know, being in charge of your life, knowing that you have a say, you have the will to change things, knowing that you have the ability to shape your circumstances. So it comes from this awareness of body-based feelings. We call it somatic healing. So the greater our awareness of what's going on in our body, like for me, I always flush whenever I talk or whenever I move through stuff. That's just part of my body history. I just go through it. And before I used to go, God, I hate this. How do I cover this up? How do I do, how do I look perfect? And for me, it's like, okay, this is part of my perfection. You know, one of the first classes I took with Brene before all the TED Talk and stuff, she did this thing called Courage Works. And what we had to do was we had to write on our hand, I am enough. And I carried that, and we carried that through, and we took pictures of ourselves and posted them on Facebook that I am enough. And so walking through the day, I am enough. Whatever I get done, I got enough done. Whatever I need to do today, I've done enough. Whatever it is, I'm enough. And it's just a helpful reminder. It's like a mantra. I want to show this slide of this friend of mine who's in compassionate inquiry training, and she's been going through some health challenges. And she made what's called a trophy wall. She just went through the healing process of her health challenges. She said this is a demonstration of it being a champion of her own life. She said the body is an old weathered oak branch. And she said even weathered oak branches have beauty. And then the shield, it has a small pink ribbon on it, but she said that ribbon does not symbolize her struggles with what she had to go through. So instead, she made a shield. And she felt like that shield protected her with her family and the love of her strong family and the love of her friends that protected her through the journey. So this is her totem that she made. And so I love it. I think it's a great way to do some creativity. If anything's going on in your body, if you're moving through anything, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. I think it's wonderful. She's such a great artist. It could be coloring books. It could be anything, but just to keep yourself concentrated in the body while you're moving through it. So knowing what we feel is the first step in knowing why we feel that way. So it's knowing what we feel. Most human beings, if you ask them about feelings, they could name 4 or 5. But there's over 80, over 100, over more than that. But because we haven't really learned about emotions, most of the time, I don't know what you were told when you were growing up, mine was don't cry and don't be angry, which was like, telling a little girl not to cry was kind of hard, really stuffed it down. But there was more than that. There's grief. There's more than grief. There's so many more emotions. And Brené's book, Atlas of the Heart, really talks and delves into the emotions. And when you look at your emotions and where they're held in your body, and you'll hear yourself talk about it, like, oh, they're a pain in the... Somebody said the other word. Or, yeah, we're talking about body parts, I had a friend who was really, really angry, and she got a kidney stone because she was off, right? She was angry. So the body always tells us what's going on. Yeah. So we say pain in the neck, or we have a headache, or all these other things. another one, which I absolutely love, is I have a gut feeling. We have a gut feeling, yeah, yeah. And the love, and we hold ourselves heavy in grief. It comes from most of the time. Other professionals can say something different, but we're holding ourselves. We're stuffing our stuff down. And the body doesn't like that. The body doesn't like that, and the body is our friend. So we get to listen to what the body has to say. A father was watching his son. I think he was in 7th or 8th grade, but he had a lot of allergies, and the medication he was taking just swelled him up. So he felt so ashamed of going to school, so he didn't go to school. His mother homeschooled him, and he got more and more depressed. And then his mother noticed, around 5 o'clock, his energy starts coming back. And so here's the third eye wisdom and the gut feeling. She enrolled him in an improv class for 7th and 8th graders. So he started going at 5 o'clock to these improv classes and came alive. His body loved the improv classes. And then what he did was he started to take acting classes. And now he's an actor. He is an actor. So his body was telling him different ways of coming alive. It might not have been in 7th and 8th school. That's the problem sometimes when you're trying to sit kids down when they've got some other things they want to do, you know. And so bless those teachers that have that way and ability to get them up and doing what they need to do.
Do we know the actor?
No, I don't. I don't. No. Elizabeth Benke said it this way: there's a deep wisdom within our very flesh, and we can only come to our senses and feel it in order to come alive. We carry these bodies around and expect them to do everything, and yet we forget to bless them. We forget that we're incarnate in them, that this body is holding our soul. It's holding our soul. It's a temporary place. It's a temporary home. So we have to begin with this idea of self-care. And I think this is just a new thing that has come from all the wisdom that has been handed down through the ages. They're finally getting to the point where we have to take care of ourselves. And it's not being selfish to take care of ourselves. So it's the practice of not letting the pain accumulate in our body. It is a constant practice. Whether it's taking a shower, going for a walk, doing art, all these different ways of self-care, getting a massage. We have to continue to remember that our lives are valuable. We are valuable. We are valuable beings. And that goes back to the example of I am enough. Whenever anything's going on, if there's any anxiety that's being felt, make a choice to go do something. Work it out. I don't know. Some people eat it out. I don't do it that way. I go for a walk. But there's different ways that we can really bow down to the anxiety without letting it take us over. And your body can tell you which way that is. And this way, we start to set up our nervous system so that we can control it. So in Sonia Renee Taylor's book, The Body's Not an Apology, she has 4 pillars that I'd like to use. And these are the 4 pillars of practice. The first one is taking out the toxic. I know we do a lot of body cleanses, but it's the toxic that's in our head too. We have to dump that junk that we're telling our bodies. We have to dump it. Turn down the volume of body negativity. Let it go. When you look in the mirror, look at the positive, look at how happy, look at what it's carried you through. All your scars, the wrinkles, anything, the muscle atrophy, all of it is part of maintaining and progressing into this world. So turn down the volume of body negativity, which means also, what am I watching that contributes to the oppression of my body? Because when we're watching that, we are oppressing. We're like, oh, if I had that. We have to give up the shoulds. I should look like that. I should take that vitamin. I should. And so I'm asking you to stop shoulding on yourself. Stop the shoulding. So we have to quit making our bodies shame, negative, quit making those, quit watching the media. Just go on a media fast. I don't know if you've looked or not, but Facebook and Instagram, I've really started to look. It's like there's a great saying from somebody, and then all of a sudden there's an advertisement. And then and it didn't used to be like that. It just used to be connection. It used to be about connection. Now it's about, what can I sell? What can I sell? Not us sell, but the marketers. And it's like every other one. Instagram's the same. I don't know about the other ones. Those are the only two I use. My granddaughter calls it the gram. It's not Instagram, it's the gram. So a whole different way of talking now. So mind matters. And this is where the radiating light comes in. So you have to curb bad-mouthing your body. If I have to use a wheelchair when I'm going into the airport instead of walking on getting to the plane, I have to have enough humility to say, I need a wheelchair. So I love using the meditation mantras. I radiate healing light. I radiate healing light. All the cells in my body are saying this at the same time. Now imagine the cells saying, I am life force vitality. If you sit there, and I use this on my knee all the time, I am life force vitality. If I notice I get a twinge in my knee, sorry, I start saying, I am life force vitality. I'm sending that life force to my knee. Not to try and change what's going on, but to try and love through it. And then there's other mantras like, I love my body. I have the body I need to live my best life. That one was a little tough for me because I still wanted those 2 inches in my height. I have the body I need. So then there's unapologetic action. Take a yoga class, do dance, just put on music. I mean, toward graduation, I always think about the song, I Sing the Body Electric. And it comes from a Walt Whitman poem. And it's all about the body, all about the cells and the music and everything. You can't help but dance in that song. And it always reminds me of graduation because the ritual of graduating and the body is taking you down there to the graduation, and the body has been part of your graduation. So singing that body electric, singing it alive, because it is. And then the collective compassion. Once again, I say writing down I am enough is a really good way of doing it, and post it everywhere. Give yourself some grace. Let go of, what did I do to create this? No more. It wasn't created that way. That wasn't the way it was intended to be used. So give yourself some grace. It's like, what do you have to say to me? And sometimes it'll talk, mostly in whispers at first. Before the pain is the whisper. And that's where the self-care comes in. It's like, I need a break. And notice when there's that comparison. So a teacher of mine, Betsy Politan, I don't know if people know her or not, but she wrote this. It's called Humanual, Human Manual. And it's exercises for becoming and staying in your body. And this is the one I want us to participate in today, if you can. It's very simple, and I use it every time I'm going through any kind of stress. I use it on the airplane a lot. So you have your left arm out, and you put your right arm underneath your armpit. And then you take your left arm, and you put it on your right arm. And just close your eyes for a minute, and we're just going to do a little bit of that healing golden light. I am radiating healing light. This is part, when I do this, I kind of like hug myself. You know how we hug babies and we hug out everybody? This is a somatic hug to do whenever you're in any kind of situation where you just need to calm yourself down a bit. I am radiating light. All my cells in my body are saying at the same time, I am life force vitality. I am that. I am that thing. I am that which I came to do in this blessed body. So in closing, I want to read a poem called Blessing for the Body by Kate Bowler and Jessica Ritchie in their book called Good Enough, 40-ish devotionals for a life of imperfection. Blessed is the body that offers soft hugs on hard days, whose curves fit our pets and our kids and our partners, whose hands hold another alongside hospital beds and nursing homes, and at the altar and on the first day of school, whose breasts nurse and legs run to chase littles, and whose toes balance us on earth, whose wrinkles tell stories of laughs and tears and worries. Blessed are these imperfect, fragile bodies, this flesh and bone, these cells that sometimes duplicate for no reason whatsoever, the skin that is stitched together with scars and stretch marks and fine lines. Blessed is the body because it is a home, not just for us, but for those who love us. And sometimes you just need to stand in front of a mirror and take off all your clothes and remember that this body, your body, is God's home address. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. And Cahill and Deline.
Thank you, Reverend Sherry. That will inspire us all week long. And by the way, for those of us who are on the little short side, we're not even vertically challenged. We're just short on one end. I think Barry's grandmother used to say that, right?
She used to say a lot of really funny stuff, but that was one of my favorites. The others I can't repeat in mixed company.
So Daniel Namode, you all know, especially if you went to the concert, and he probably did this song, Last Song. It's called Last Song. And definitely listen to the lyrics, because what if it was our last day? Did we leave this earth a little bit brighter and a little bit sunnier? And that's a good thing to think about, because especially in light of everything that's happening in this world, you never know. So always good to be inspiring and be loving every day. Okay. If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what do I have to show? No, not fortune or fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. this world a little more peaceful, oceans and sky a little more blue, is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I've ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, if there's nothing I need to say, I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful, oceans and sky a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller 'cause of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on if I am out of time? Thank you, Daniel. Great song.